This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on The South Today, a Dunedin-based All Black is set to escape conviction for assault after he apologises. A new space for Rainbow Youth has opened at the University of Otago. And an historic church at Pleasant Point near Timaru has been demolished. Kia ora, good evening, I'm Sophie Morris. Highlanders and All Black player Shannon Frizzell looks set to avoid a conviction on violence charges after he apologised for assaulting two people. The alleged incident took place on the 9th of May and is understood to have occurred outside a bar in Dunedin's Octagon.
I would like to take this opportunity to say how very sorry I am for my behaviour during an incident that made this year. I would especially like to say sorry to the two people involved and the harm I have caused. I'm very grateful for all the opportunity I have had and I don't take them for granted. I let myself and others down, and I will now try to do everything I can to restore to people faith in me. I already have put a plan in place with counsellors to help me address areas I want to work on. Once again, I'd like to apologise to the people involved, my family, friends, and the wider community. Thank you.
The 27-year-old Tongan-born loose forward appeared in the Dunedin District Court on 2 charges of assaulting a woman and 1 of common assault. Defence counsel asked for the case to be adjourned so he could complete the requirements of diversion, a scheme used by police to help first offenders avoid a conviction. Frizzell has been dropped from the Highlanders squad. The team's CEO says it was not a punishment, but simply a measure to avoid distraction. A man who killed a miniature horse, stabbing it more than 40 times, is to be released from prison 4 months early. Last year, Renigold Ozane was jailed for 2.5 years, admitting the crime, which sent shockwaves through the Dunedin community of Waitati. He maintains to have no memory of killing the beloved family pet called Star. Ozane is to be paroled next week to a Dunedin address on a range of conditions, including a ban from physical contact with any animals. Queer and questioning students at the University of Otago now have their own common room for when they want to get away from any perceived bullying from the wider student community. The space will have a locked door with access restricted through an application process.
After about 4 years in the planning, the Otago University Students' Association has finally set up a room as a queer space, which was officially opened recently. OUSA President Michaela Waite-Harvey says it will provide a safe area for queer and questioning students on campus.
It's really just a common room area. It has a kitchen space like all of our other safe space common room areas have. And it has board games and couches and, it's sort of just an area for queer students to come and know that they're in a space specifically for them to feel safe.
It's not the first time Waite-Harvey has been involved with a queer space, having set one up in 2016 when she was a pupil at Marlborough College. And she says she'd like to see more being set up across the country.
Our universities is sort of a place where we come into our own and we grow, and it's also a very vulnerable place for a majority of our students who are young people, sort of going through life changes, coming in, living on their own, trying to make new friends. So I think providing as many safe spaces as possible, especially for groups that are at particular risk of bullying and harassment and discrimination, is really important to make them feel accepted, but also give them an area to go somewhere where they know that they won't really have that happen to them.
She says membership to the common room will be controlled through an application process.
You have to be a University of Otago student to be able to use this, and you need a student ID to be able to gain access, and there's an access form that you fill out. So it's sort of a locked door situation where it's not a anyone can come in, which I think embeds that safe space aspect.
Otago is the second university in the country to form a queer space, the first having been the University of Auckland. In Dunedin, the South Today.
People with a passion for fashion gathered in Gore for the Mataura Licensing Trust Hokanui Fashion Design Awards over the weekend. Now in its 32nd year, the event attracts fashion designers from across the country. Organisers say the two-day event went well, with 240 entries spanning 11 categories. Among the categories were awards for menswear and nightlife. Judges say they were looking for individuality, presenting both the Award of Excellence and the Open Section Collections Award to Arena Terakova of Christchurch. An earthquake-damaged church in the township of Pleasant Point was demolished recently. Once the rubble is removed, the local parish intends to build a new church on the site.
St Mary's Church at Pleasant Point, a township about 20 kilometres inland from Timaru, was turned into a pile of rubble after just one day's demolition with a digger. The church had been standing as an icon at Pleasant Point since 1890, but was taken out of action 10 years ago after being damaged by the Christchurch earthquakes, with local parishioners in the meantime taking services in an adjacent hall. The building belonged to the Opahi Catholic parish, who decided it was better to demolish and rebuild instead of strengthening the church. It would have cost more than $2.5 million to repair the old one, which still wouldn't have been fully earthquake safe. The parish says through demolition it can get a new church instead. Treasured parts of the church were taken out before the demolition, including stained glass windows and a clock face. These will be built into the new church, for which construction will begin in the next couple of weeks. In Pleasant Point, the South Today.
Still to come on the South Today. Tourism Waitaki is still copping criticism for a recent video campaign, and Balclutha residents get the chance to dine in the dark. We'll see you after the break.
All new episodes of Put Some Colour in Your Life are now screening on Channel 39. Take a look at Australian artists and the techniques they use in their studio. Put Some Colour in Your Life. Tuesdays, 7:30.
Be sure to tune in to Football Chat every week, where we chat about local football fixtures, results and everything else that's happening in the local game.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Hi, it's Lindsay here from Alex Campbell Menswear. We have a massive manufacturer's clearance plus. There's liquidated stock from our suppliers. For example, we have cotton casual trousers from 1990, dress trousers from 1990, merino zip pullovers, fashion shirts, warm winter shirts, jackets. There's a great deal on overcoats, blazers and suits. Come and check out our jeans. We're known for our jean selection.
Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Come in and see the massive manufacturer's clearance at Alex Campbell Menswear.
Ah, TV, our favourite babysitter. But it can be tough keeping up with what our tamariki are watching. Luckily, the Broadcasting Standards Authority has made some smart changes to the classification labels. Ooh! Plus changes to the time of day certain rated shows will air, and awesome new parental lock features, meaning your babysitter's job is safe. Find out more at safeviewing.co.nz.
Welcome back. Queensland Lakes District Councillors will get to vote on whether to continue working on the controversial Ladies Mile Master Plan. The draft plan would see almost 2,500 high-density dwellings on a strip of grass near Lake Hayes. Out of more than 500 public submissions on the plan, more than 80% were either opposed to or concerned about the proposal. Many submissions were concerned about increased congestion along the already busy state highway. The council is set to vote this Thursday on whether to continue the proposal at a reduced development density or halt work on the project entirely. Alleged racist and xenophobic comments targeting Tourism Waitaki staff have been reported to police. The comments are regarding a tourism campaign called Sweet Spot of New Zealand. A promotional video campaign released by Tourism Waitaki attracted a lot of criticism in the district. An Oamaru business collective requested the entire campaign be withdrawn, saying it undermined local pride and detracted from the hard work done by previous campaigns. Tourism Waitaki says it is now being targeted by a dangerous undercurrent of cyberbullying, racial harassment and xenophobia. Tourism Waitaki's General Manager, Margaret Munro, says that while the campaign has not resonated with some locals, it has largely been positive. Diners in Balclutha have recently had the opportunity to experience food without the distraction of being able to see it. Balclutha Lions held a Dining in the Dark event for the first time and say apart from some smelled food, the evening was a success.
What does food taste like when you can't see it? This group of South Otago locals found out at the inaugural Dining in the Dark event held recently in Balclutha.
But we're actually tasting without seeing, which was actually quite a different experience because you actually got to taste the food first, whereas we usually eat with our eyes first.
34 diners put on blindfolds before sitting down to dinner at the Balclutha Town and Country Club, taking part in the fundraising event for Blind and Low Vision New Zealand. Lawrence Lions member Alison Joyce says it was a fun and challenging experience.
There was lots of empty forks going to our mouths. Thinking you're doing a good job, but it was quite an experience actually.
While some people put empty forks in their mouths, there was a fair bit of food falling from forks. South Otago Community Committee President Margaret Keane isn't envious of the person in charge of doing the laundry.
The messes on the table. The tablecloths need to be washed. I've had 3 requests for another evening of Dining in the Dark.
Wendy Hayward says the salt and pepper shakers were often mistaken and resulted in some funny tasting soup. Balclutha Lions member Kay Jobson also described it as a very interesting experience, finding her other senses compensated for not being able to see.
Well, yeah, you don't know what you're eating, but trying to use the fork in a different way, so you don't know whether you got your food on the fork or not. Yeah, it's interesting and aware of everybody else. You listen, everything sounds so loud because you can't see, I guess, and everyone else is having problems, and you're thinking, oh God. Yeah, it's good. It's a really good experience.
Visually impaired Lions Club member Doug Keane simply said to those in eye masks, "Welcome to my world." Organisers say the South Otago Community Committee fundraiser for Blind and Low Vision New Zealand is likely to happen again. In Balclutha, the South Today.
After the break on the South Today, demolition resumes at the old Scribes Bookshop in North Dunedin, and we check out the weather.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole Map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
MTF Finance can help you turn the key on your next vehicle with a loan made just for you. TCs and lending criteria apply.
Hi, it's Lindsay here from Alex Campbell Menswear. We have a massive manufacturer's clearance plus. There's liquidated stock from our suppliers. For example, we have cotton casual trousers from 1990, dress trousers from 1990, merino zip pullovers, fashion shirts, warm winter shirts, jackets. There's a great deal on overcoats, blazers and suits. Come and check out our jeans. We're known for our jean selection.
Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Come in and see the massive manufacturer's clearance at Alex Campbell Menswear.
All new episodes of Put Some Colour in Your Life are now screening on Channel 39. Take a look at Australian artists and the techniques they use in their studio. Put Some Colour in Your Life. Tuesdays, 7:30.
Welcome back. Demolition of the old Scribes bookshop in North Dunedin resumed yesterday. Demolition was halted in April because the developer didn't have consent, but the necessary paperwork, including archaeological authority, was now in place as of yesterday, allowing the diggers to return, bringing the building down. It's believed the masonry-clad building at the corner of Great King and St David Streets was constructed in the late 19th century. Building consent documents show plans for commercial premises, 10 accommodation units, parking and a rooftop garden. And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South today. A Dunedin-based All Black is set to escape conviction for assault after he apologises. A new space for Rainbow Youth has opened at the University of Otago. And an historic church at Pleasant Point near Timaru has been demolished after it was damaged in earthquakes about a decade ago. And now for a look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT. Welcome, Craig.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Otago's about to get a lift in profile on the world stage. Jane Campion's new movie, The Power of the Dog, which was shot around the Otago region, it's been listed in one of the top categories in the Venice Film Festival, and apparently I'm told that that's usually a bit of an indicator for nominations in the Oscars as well, so it's looking promising. It stars Kirsten Dunst and Benedict Cumberbatch, so plenty of star power there, and yeah, well, a lot of it was shot around central Otago, but they also used the Dunedin railway station for part of it, and also some of the historic parts of Oamaru as well, so won't be expecting a rush of overseas visitors anytime soon on the back of that, but I'm sure, you know, when they go back through their back catalogue and see parts of Central, think it's worth coming along for a look. So, yeah, it's made for Netflix, so we'll keep an eye out when it appears. But yeah, some good news there on that sort of front.
Right.
End of an era for Dunedin business. Krusty Corner, which is a bit of an iconic cafe down at the Garden Centre there. It's closing its doors after about 35 years. Business has been on the market for a while, but there's been some problems with lease of the building, long-term lease of that, so they've decided, couldn't find a buyer, so have decided to close it down. We talked to Rob Barker, who started it all those years ago, producing hot bread, donuts and cream buns, and who wouldn't like that? But he kind of found as the cafes developed and supermarkets extended their hours, he had to kind of branch out a bit into more other offers as well. So he's a bit disappointed about it all, but he said there's no other option really than to do that. Also said the name came about because of crusty bread, but he's not quite sure he'd get away with that name now if he was looking to name a cafe, so probably not. On our fresh pages, we talked to Dunedin-based jeweller Holly Howe, who's making a bit of a name for herself around the country. She was brought up in Waitati and did her studying at Otago Polytechnic, and The business is now on display in gallery, or her jewellery is now on display on lots of galleries around the country, and she's really doing well for herself. So great to see that.
Right.
She's investing in her, obviously with jewellery, so she wants to invest in people with what she's designing. So she's got some lovely stuff too, some nice photos there. And of course plenty of Olympic coverage as well as we head towards the end of the first week. Erica Fairweather bowing out in the 200 freestyle today. She's got the relay later in the week, but she's done amazingly well for a 17-year-old, and I think her best years are going to be ahead of her. And the men's sevens have got a quarter-final tonight, and if they get through that, we're into the medals business tomorrow. So hopefully we can finally, maybe pick up a gold by the end of tomorrow. Who knows?
Great.
That's us.
All right, thank you, Craig. And now for a look at the weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Mole Map.
Beginning with the southern view, Aotearoa living up to its name, the land of the long white clouds. Looking at the situation, a mild northwesterly airflow will increase tomorrow ahead of cold fronts in the Tasman Sea. Expect westerly quarter airflow for the rest of the week as these fronts wash over southern districts. Starting at the northwest of the South Island, showers and 14 degrees for Greymouth and partial cloud and 13 in Westport. To the northeast, sunshine for the area with 16 degrees in Nelson and 15 degrees in Blenheim. Moving to Canterbury, sunshine for the region with 14 degrees in Kaikoura and Christchurch and 13 degrees in Ashburton. To the southern towns, strong northwesterlies, rain later and 13 degrees for the Catlins, Balclutha, Lumsden and Gore. To the Central Lakes area, gusty northwesterlies and cloud for most areas with 11 degrees in Queenstown, Wanaka and Alexandra. Te Anau can also expect to reach 11 degrees with gusty northwesterlies and rain. To the northern towns, on the coast, moderate northerlies, some high cloud and 13 degrees for Oamaru and Timaru. Inland, freshening northwesterlies, cloud increasing and 12 degrees for Twizel and Amarama. In Dunedin, fine tonight with a low of 4. Fine with some high cloud tomorrow, light winds tending northeast during the afternoon, a high of 12 and a low of 7. Milder on Thursday with sunny periods and high cloud with moderate to fresh northerly winds, a high of 15 and a low of 8. And in Invercargill, fine tonight with some cloud and a low of 7. Cloudy tomorrow with milder northwesterly winds freshening during the day. Rain developing after dark, a high of 13 and a low of 10. Periods of rain easing to showers on Thursday with fresh west northwesterly winds, a high of 13 and a low of 9. That's all for our news this Tuesday. For the latest news from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz or follow Channel 39 on Facebook and YouTube. Thanks for joining us. Ka kite anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.